Welcome back to the Arkitect Fitness YouTube channel. My name is Tony, and today we're going to be reviewing Fat Loss Forever by Layne Norton and Peter Baker. When I heard that Layne Norton was coming out with a book called Fat Loss Forever, I was very excited. I've been a fan of Layne's for a long time, and there's good reason for that. If you're not familiar with Layne Norton, he's well known as a natural bodybuilder, powerlifter, and PhD in nutritional science. It's very rare that you find someone that has the real world experience like Layne does, but also has the education and science to back it up. Not only was Layne a natural bodybuilder and powerlifter, he was extremely successful at both, earning his pro card in bodybuilding and medaling at the World Championships in powerlifting. If you're not familiar with Peter Baker is who is Peter Baker? Okay, so I'm on his website, peterdbaker.com. I am a Tampa personal trainer, thinker, and geek. I train and write about the totality of training both myself and others. That doesn't tell me much. Let's check out his Instagram. Okay, so his Instagram says he's a writer who sculpts butts, helps people eat well, and talks about feminism. And here's some male boudoir photography. All right, well, I don't know anything about Peter Baker, but I know that Layne knows this stuff, so I'm assuming he had good reason for including him in authoring this book. So let's get back to just that, which is the book. Now, you might be wondering how I had a physical copy of Fat Loss Forever. If you go on to Layne's website, biolayne.com, you will see at this present time, I believe it's only available in ebook format, although I have seen him talking about maybe doing a hard copy. I personally do not care for ebooks, so I had this printed at a local print shop just so I could take notes and highlight. That's just how I like to read. What is the book about, and is it worth the money? That is always what these book reviews are about here on the Arkitect Fitness YouTube channel. So first of all, the book is a book about dieting, losing weight, and or fat. As you probably know, the fat loss literature market is extremely competitive, and there are tons of books that you could read about this subject. But most of them honestly kind of suck. Fat Loss Forever seems like Layne and Peter's take on how to best achieve fat loss, but more importantly, how to keep the weight off. And this is something that the book talks about extensively that other diet books don't usually discuss. In the book, the authors state that most people who try to lose weight actually do lose some weight. But the problem is most of them gain it back, with statistics over 50% within the first year and over 95% within the next 3 years. So in reality, the success rate of diets is only about 5%, which is absolutely terrible. What's worse is, not only do the people fail to keep the weight off, they usually gain more weight and end up heavier than they were before they even started the initial diet. Fat Loss Forever is a text dedicated to helping you lose the weight, but also keeping the weight off. So what do the authors recommend? What is the meat and potatoes of the book, if you will? Yes, that pun was intended. Well, I'm here to review the book, not give away all its secrets. These guys obviously put a lot of hard work and effort into it. So if you want to know the finer details, I suggest buying the book. And we'll talk about whether or not that's worth it in just a little bit. But if you're familiar with Layne Norton, you will know that he is one of the first people to bring IIFYM, or If It Fits Your Macros, to the forefront of the dieting and fitness world.
But if you want to have, a Pop-Tart or a slice of pizza or a sub or something like that, it's not going to kill you.
What IIFYM says is weight loss is a result of calories in versus calories out, but more specifically, a breakdown of certain macronutrients, proteins, carbs, and fats. And it doesn't really matter where those protein, carbs, and fats come from. If you stay in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. And if you go into a calorie surplus, you will gain weight. What I absolutely love about this book is Layne and Peter are diet coaches. Layne is a bodybuilder, a powerlifter, and a PhD. So this guy has all the street cred to back up what he's saying. But they still cited so many different sources and studies with every statement they made in this book, which I think is absolutely awesome. Now, of course, anybody could write a book, put citations in it, and most people aren't going to bother actually looking up those studies and making sure the studies that are cited are legit. But here's the thing. Layne is a scientist with a huge reputation on the line, and I did take some time to look through some of, definitely not all of the studies, and most of them are extremely credible. And the thing is both these guys have produced these results using these exact methods with hundreds, if not thousands of clients between the two of them. The book starts off with a great amount of information about why diets fail, why people yo-yo diet, and why it's so easy to gain weight after you've dieted. The authors explain in detail how your body's metabolism is pliable and reacts to the different changes you put it through, in particular when you go into calorie restriction to lose weight, and why your body doesn't necessarily want to lose body fat. After explaining your body's self-defense systems against losing weight, they talk about how you can actually succeed in losing weight and the strategies that they recommend. I can vouch for these strategies because they're the exact same concepts I use myself successfully and that I use with clients successfully, so I know that they work. What's unfortunate about flexible dieting and IIFYM is it's not this sexy, beautiful, neatly packaged item that you can just hand somebody where you say, don't eat this and eat that, or this is the one trick you're missing to seeing success. In fact, although flexible dieting is really easy once you get the hang of it, the learning curve is a little steep and it does require you to build some really consistent habits as far as tracking your food. With that said, the chapters on how to successfully set up your diet and how many calories, proteins, carbs, and fats you should be eating can be a little tedious at times. And if I did have one bone to pick with this book, it would be sometimes I feel like it lost focus on who the book was written for. While I think overall they did a really good job of breaking down the information for anybody to digest, at some points I thought it was a little too scientific, and at other times I thought it was a little too casual. It makes me feel like what I would love to see from Peter and Layne in the future is actually two different books. I feel like these guys have enough knowledge and experience to write an actual textbook on fat loss. On the other hand, I think another book could be made that actually dumbs it down even a little bit more to make it more digestible for the average person. I will say, as a coach that's been doing this stuff for years, there was lots of stuff that I even learned for myself and that I can apply with my clients. And also, as someone that works in a science-based profession, some of the science was even a little hard for me to dig into. So that brings up the obvious question. Is it worth the money? And at $49.99, it's not a cheap book. For me personally, because this is what I do for work, it was easy for me to spend the money, although I would love to spend that money and get a physical copy. Instead, I had to pay for the $50 for the ebook and then pay additional money to have it printed. So I'm interested to see what the hard copy price is going to be when it comes out. But here's why I still think the book is worth the money. Because if you do what the book tells you to do, you're going to succeed. And how many times have you bought a book about a diet or a fitness plan or a supplement, and you followed that plan diligently and it didn't work? Aside from the disparity between the casual wordage in some chapters and the scientific data in others, there's also a theme that weaves in and out of the book at times, which I think needs to be addressed. At some times, the book seems to be directed specifically towards people who are obese and have really struggled to get weight off. At other times, the book seems to be directed at people who are kind of already living a fit lifestyle and have made really great gains and are just looking for that extra edge. In my opinion, those two groups are worlds apart. The people who are already kind of living that fit lifestyle, that have made good progress, that already have a gym habit, already follow some type of nutrition plan regularly, they're 90% of the way there. But the people that are obese or just really overweight have probably struggled with yo-yo diets their whole life, and nothing has ever really worked for them, even in the short term. When the title of the book is Fat Loss Forever, and the first few chapters talk about how most people regain their weight after a diet, I'm under the impression that the book is geared towards those people who have always struggled with their weight. And to be honest, I think it should be, because those are the people that need the most help. Another great thing about this book is Peter and Layne also discuss some very prominent diets, most notably the ketogenic diet. And they talk about why these diets work, what's good about them, what's not good about them, and how you can incorporate them into this flexible dieting strategy. There's a huge emphasis on sustainability, which I think is really crucial to success. And there's also even a chapter about supplements, what might be worth your money, and what might be worth skipping. Clocking in at about 375 pages, the book is extremely thorough. I do think it's worth the money since you will see results if you do what they tell you to do. And I do think it was a great first edition, but I am looking forward to a bigger, better Fat Loss Forever in the future. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'm Tony with Arkitect Fitness, and we'll see you next time.